Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by a contribution from Mike. And here's his story. Dear Ollie, I'm writing to you in the hope that you will share my story on your channel, and also because it would mean a lot to me to hear your commentary on the individual involved, as I am still not sure what one would call him to this day. Narcissist, psychopath, coward, or maybe just a good guy turned bad by power. You name it, it all could apply. In 2011, I joined a small software startup and went to work in a team of 4. The team leader had quite a strong personality, but seemed to be one of us. He is also one of the smartest men I've ever met. He would often scrap with other departments when they came after our team and ruthlessly protect us all, assuming we were in the right. My wife said I would often return home from work raving about what he did that day, and she said it was very clear I looked up to him. He had a very unprofessional and informal nature. One of my best memories of him was when he gathered around one employee's desk to watch a video entitled "A Monkey and a Frog." He was like the rule-breaking, cool big brother and often reminded us of what great jobs we were doing. Let's refer to him as Ben, if that is okay, as I don't want to use his real name. In 2012, the company was sold to 2 investment firms. We continued ahead, but a new vice president was put in charge of our division, and this woman was evil. Those are not my words. Those are the words of the CEO who sold the company and stayed on briefly at an advisory position. She once told a project manager on the phone to find another job after they were late to a meeting due to a cancer screening and had broken down on the phone. I often think people in the USA miscategorize capitalism, but if you took all of the less fears and worst nightmares about it, this woman embodied it all. She hit great numbers, but left a trail of bodies in her wake. Well, I would say, I would say to that, you know, I'm pro-capitalist, but that doesn't mean you have to be pro-douchebag either. Um, we hear a lot about, the gender inequality and the wage gap, and this woman is a CEO of a company, and she's the ultimate characterization of evil capitalism. So I hope that point's not missed either, that this is done by a woman. She fired 2 of the best bosses I had, men of actual integrity who would stand up to her. One was fired after he told her to back off a coworker who refused to give her social security number to a client. Instead of going through proper channels and siding with her own employee against a ludicrous process, the VP stormed into the seating area and berated the employee, and it descended into a screaming match. Our boss said not to do that again, and to go through him if she had an issue with one of his team. She fired him. I would often hear Ben sitting in his office with my boss before he was axed, talking about what an idiot she was. However, things changed when she eventually hired Ben as the boss of the team, something he claimed he never wanted. The first sign something was off was that he was becoming very negative. I felt like I would only see or interact with him whenever I did something wrong. Nothing was ever good enough, and I started to feel like I was being picked on. Then, in September 2014, I had a mid-year review, and the bottom fell out of my world. My job was suddenly at risk, and apparently I was not a good fit for the role anymore. I confided in my coworkers only to find out every single one of them was also fed up and being told that they sucked. We were a team of 13 at our largest. By the time this saga ended, we were were a team of one. Everyone walked out. In April 2015, my father was displaying symptoms consistent with kidney cancer. He lived abroad. I emailed my boss, and HR gave them a heads up something bad might be coming, which I need to take emergency family leave for. There was no official diagnosis, but Google told me everything I needed to know. Rapid unexplained weight loss, blood in the urine, things did not look good. When I next saw my boss, he asked me, "What the hell did you copy HR for? I'm the one who gets to decide if you go back," which of course is pure BS. HR made that call and were fantastic. In a team meeting a few weeks later, we were being told to fill out a bunch of unnecessary paperwork as the business tried to enforce more control and process despite asking us to work faster. There were days when different clients would blur into one there were days when different clients would blur into one another because there was so much work. One of our team members got annoyed when Ben said our bonuses would be taken away if we didn't fill in the paperwork, and joked, "Well, how did that work out for other teams?" He was referring to others in our divisions who resigned. Ben's response was, "Well, maybe that turnover was justified." It was said with a certain arrogance, implying that he and the other VP were superior and the company needed to lose a lot of dead weight. People with 10 years of service were being set up to fail. These were no dead weights. At the beginning of my annual review, I walked into his office and began doing a drum roll with his hands alternating on the table in front of me, and said with delight, "Oh, Mikey, 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 this isn't going to be a fun conversation." Then he patronized me for the next 30 minutes and put me on a personal improvement plan. Basically paperwork setting you up for firing. That's exactly what it is. Look, I mean, thus far, I haven't jumped in because this is like just the process, and that's what it was basically called at Macy's and in corporate. I was never put on. They were too terrified to come after me like that. I've seen this done, and I've seen this process happen, and I've seen good executives who I worked with become Ben. People I respected who got one promotion too many in the wrong spot and decided they drink the corporate Kool-Aid. You get to a certain level in corporate America like that, and you drink the corporate Kool-Aid, and you'll believe anything. And it's a level wrought with narcissism. Because their goal, much like our governments do and our media does, is to gaslight their own employees and gaslight each other and gaslight themselves. They used to do it at Macy's all the time. People would get fed up, say, "Fuck you, I'm out of here," and quit. 2 days later, the whole story's been turned around that they were on their way out the door and were fired anyway. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's the fucking biggest red flag of a company sinking. And I don't want to make this about gender, okay? But I will tell you this. A male CEO would not get away with this. No way, no how. These horror stories, 95% of the time, it's with women CEOs because HR, human resources, is afraid to get involved. Back when human resources was known as personnel, you could shut shit like this down. An executive couldn't get away with it. Not now. No. So what's Ben doing? Ben's going along to get along. And the problem is they push all their talent out the door and even put good talent on review or warning or whatever they're calling it. that setup conversation to save their own asses. And then they'll turn around with no talent, no jobs. Anybody coming in is a moron anyway. And then they set it up, well, these guys killed the company. And then they'll eat up whatever's left and float away on their golden parachutes or however that works, taking zero responsibility for their own mismanagement. It's very, very sad. Slowly but surely, team members were leaving. We were losing one a month. He attacked me in June 2015 for something I didn't even do in an email, which began with the words, "You and I need to talk." At this point, my dad was getting worse and the stress broke me down, and I told him I was done. Good for you. Good for you. I took a job in the company's call center, publicly humiliating myself. And 2 weeks after I returned back to the USA from my father's funeral, I was fired. Instead of firing or demoting this fool, they hired 5 new people in his team to replace the ones who left. And I will be honest, I just checked out from that point on and gave up all hope of the business ever seeing sense. It was the worst episode of my entire life, but the firing turned into a blessing in disguise. I am happy now, but I will never forget what happened and the sheer stupidity of everyone involved, including the CEO, who knew all of this was going down and did nothing. The company nosedived, and focus groups, surveys, and consults failed to fix it. Because they lie to themselves in focus groups, surveys, and consults. We had Gallup. Macy's used to bring Gallup in. We used to take a Gallup survey every year. Every year. And the same shit would fail every year. Staffing and equipment. But what do they do when you have the Gallup meeting? Oh, well, we're going to grade this on the curve. So we're not even going to talk about the worst and the best thing. We'll just work on what's in the middle. And it was when I had my moment. It never got to the point with me because it got to with you, because it was very, very difficult to fire an LP person. And it is impossible to fire an LP person with as much service as I had in that company, because I just knew where all the bodies were buried. I'm a trained interrogator. It's trained interrogators going at each other's throats. But I realized I got to a point with this company where I realized it wasn't going to be viable anymore, that it was just an absurdity, that it was all full of shit. My last 2 years was like, my line was, oh, to new people coming in, you're still buying the dream, huh? I mean, I was just openly belligerent towards the company, just daring them to do something, and they wouldn't. They wouldn't. I was advantaged. I mean, if I was a real, I could have hung. I lost everything anyway. Realistically, I couldn't do it with what I was going through. But I had no reason to leave. They were at no process of me leave. I made the decision on my own. This is done. This is ridiculous. This is going nowhere. And I'm being proven right. As I'm sure you're being proven right as you watch this company go down in flames. I've seen individual locations go down in the same type of drama that you're talking about here, and it's always been a woman store manager, and HR refusing to address it. Well, she's a woman. So over in the UK, I can only imagine. I can only fucking imagine what it's like. And for me too, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because I wouldn't be doing this if I hadn't gotten screwed over by IKEA. I wouldn't be doing this. That's if I was still at Macy's. I wouldn't be doing this. here's the weird thing about this, Mike. To this day, and I'm sure you're still doing it too, you are thinking about arguments you had with these people. You are thinking about because you cared about your job. You're probably real good at your job. Probably real good at your job. Real good at your job, right? And because of that, like I still slip in and out, like just now, like I'm still thinking about the argument I had on the 8th floor or the 6th floor in Brooklyn with the regional vice president and the regional director. And I was daring them do something because I gave a shit. I cared and I knew it was bullshit. And I saw something great torn the fuck apart and there was nothing I could do about it. And then when you're done, you're done. I am happy now, but I will never forget what happened and the sheer stupidity of everyone involved, including the CEO who knew all about it and this was going down and did nothing. The company nosedived and focus group surveys, consults failed to fix it. That's where I got off on my rant. I'm sorry. Because, again, I mean, I dealt with this and they don't fucking listen. They only have these focus group surveys and consults to say they did it, to check a box. So whoever their boss is, look, I did it. We did everything we said we're going to do. Like we can. It's Mike. It's Mike and his coworkers. Fuck you. They survived only by bringing back the original CEO, who immediately demoted Ben to have no reports and fired the VP. In my opinion, she was the real cancer, but Ben needed to take some personal responsibility for the way he treated his team. And that's exactly what happened at the end with me, because I actually had two Bens. One named Mike, one named Howard, and I yelled out his name before. Great guys I worked with on different levels. And never like we were the same. It was never a jealousy thing with me and these two guys because they were always at a position higher than me. But they both made regional VP and that was it. And they lost their fucking shit. But there it was. They had to remove the cancer. And both of them were reporting to the same female that so I get it, man. So this is like really bringing me back. Because look, when you work in a competitive corporate environment, man, you live it. You live it every day. You wear it on your sleeve. You put your life into this shit. And I knew I was good at my shit, just like I'm sure Mike knows he was good at his shit. And to have to deal with this kind of this corporate bureaucracy and the gaslight and the bullshit, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then they're going to try to blame you for it. I hope you have some wise words, Ollie. Maybe after I heard your analysis, I can finally let go of this and forgive. Please let me know. Okay. Thank you for all that you do. My wife has a narcissistic mother, and your channel has helped her greatly, Mike. We take this stuff so personally, Mike. It's just like, with my abuse with my parents. I think, believe it or not, I think about I think about it a lot, my corporate life, and it's all Macy's based, some of the battles that I tried to go through and what I should have done differently and stuff like I should have even have been stronger and I should have said this and I should have said that because it just defined who I was for so long. And I always went at my job so honestly. I was who I was. I always was honest about who I was and who I thought I was at that point. Right was right and wrong was wrong with me. It's like you had decency, you had morals, but you could have fun. And so this has all been lost. This has all been lost. And, you know, it sounds like we went through very similar things. And I understand that whole, I was never put on that process. It would have fucking flipped me out at that. Well, at the end, I wanted it because I wanted the fight with them, but they just wouldn't give it to me. They just wouldn't give it to me. Here's what you can do. I mean, take solace in the fact that they ended up getting fired and demoted. And whether you're able to let it go and forgive them for what? Why should you forgive them? Why? They're idiots. Have they apologized? Why would you forgive somebody who hasn't apologized? Are they sorry for trying to sully your reputation and your career and forcing you out? What if it didn't work out for the better? Why would you forgive people who haven't apologized? Only in narcissism would you forgive somebody who hasn't apologized. They're not asking for forgiveness, so why give it to them? Watch them fail. Like, I have no intention of forgiving anybody. The people who screwed me over are out at Macy's as well. And I'm watching Macy's go down in flames. And I'm laughing my ass off. That's my Reddit. But it's still, as a man, as an executive for so long, who took so much pride in their work, it's just defined what I did and who I was. I still think about it. You can't help it. You can't help it. Because if you're wronged, you're wronged. And you know what? You didn't get your validation about it. Nobody apologized. As a man, Ben should call you up and say, that was fucked up what I did. And here's why I did. I was just trying to save my ass or whatever. Then maybe you forgive him, say, all right, I get it. You're trying to keep your head above water in this economy. It's fucked up, but okay, whatever. Besides that, why would you forgive somebody who's not even asking for it? That would be my question. Watch them fail and enjoy their failure. That's really the lesson here. Enjoy the narcissist's failure without you. Don't forgive them. Why? They're not asking for it anyway. So, thank you for the contribution. Thank you for the story. I really appreciate it. It really triggered me up a little bit. It's kind of funny, but I appreciate it, and I hope that helps you. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, or you'd like to set up a Skype chat, phone call, have a private video made, Facebook chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video for someone who can't afford one, or just contribute to the channel in general, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. And if you're still unclear, wait for the instructional video link to pop up at the end of this video. It'll walk you through all of that. Please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews, and this has been the Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.